Don't be thinking that creativity is such a good thing. It's a high-risk, high-return strategy. So if you're creative, you just try this. You guys are going to have a hell of a time monetizing your creativity. It's virtually impossible. It's really, really difficult because, first of all, let's say you make an original product. You think the world will beat a pathway to your door if you build a better mousetrap, but that's complete rubbish. It isn't true in the least. If you make a good creative product, you've probably solved about 5% of your problem. Because then you have marketing, which is insanely difficult, and then you have sales, and then you have customer support, and then you have to build an organization. If it's really novel, you have to tell people what the hell the thing is. And that's a real problem. If you write a book, then you have the problem that another million people have also written a book. But if you produce something that's completely new and doesn't have a category, people can't search for it online. How are they going to find it? And then you have pricing problems, and it's really unbelievably difficult to produce something creative and then monetize it. And even worse, if you're the creative person, let's say you have a spectacular invention. You've got no money. You've got no customers. Those are big problems. And so maybe you go and you find a venture capitalist. We start with family and friends because that's how it works. You raise money for your product. You raise money from your family and friends. That's assuming you have family and friends that have some money and that they're going to give it to you. And most people aren't in that situation. So it's a terrible barrier right off the bat. And then, of course, you're putting your family and friends at substantial financial risk because the probability that your stupid idea is going to make money is virtually zero, even if it's a really brilliant idea. Then let's say, well, you get past family and friends and you get venture capitalists involved because that's often the next step. Or an angel investor. That's some rich guy that you happen to meet in some way who's into this sort of thing and is willing to provide you with some money to get your product off the ground. How much of your product is that person going to take? Most of it. And no wonder, because you don't have any money. How are you going to bargain for control over your product? He'll just say, do you want the money or not? If your answer is no, then he'll go and do something else with his money. And then if you get venture capitalists involved, they'll take another big chunk and maybe they'll just throw you out because maybe by that point in the company's development, you're nothing but a pain in the neck because what do you know about marketing and sales and customer service and building an organization and running a business? Like, you don't have a clue, so why do they need you? So even if you're successful at generating a new idea and you put it into a business, the probability that you as the originator of the idea are going to make some money from it is very, very low. So don't be thinking that creativity is something you would want to curse yourself with. The overwhelming probability is that you will fail, but a small proportion of creative people succeed spectacularly. It's like a lottery in some sense. You're probably going to lose, but if you don't lose, you could win big, and that keeps a lot of creative people going. You guys should listen to this because I know what I'm talking about. If you happen to be creative, if you're a songwriter or any of the other number of things that you might be, find a way to make money and then practice your craft on the side. You will starve to death otherwise. Musicians, for example, it's incredibly difficult for new musicians to monetize their craft, even if they're really, really good at it. This weird thing called the Pareto principle or Price's law, which is that as good things happen to you, the probability that more good things will happen increases. Your success doesn't go like this. It goes like this: 0, 0, 0, skyrocket. If you're starting a business, the hardest customer you'll ever get is your first one, and then the second hardest one will be your second one. It's virtually impossible to get a first customer. They're not going to be willing or able to evaluate whether your damn product is good for anything. And so they'll say, well, who are your other customers? And if your answer to that is, well, we don't have any, it's like, well, then what? They're going to be the first one. No, people don't stick their necks out at all, not a bit. Ever. Not only do you have to be right and have yourself together and produce the proper thing, but the market has to open at exactly that moment so that you can walk through. There has to be a demand. People won't buy anything that they don't have a crying need for, because imagine everybody has 10 priorities and number 10 is important but no one ever does it. And number 8 is important but no one ever does it. And so you have to go talk to someone to buy what you have, and that has to be priority 1 or 2 for them, because they'll say, oh, that's good, we really need it, but it's priority 8, forget it. They'll never buy your thing. They only get down to like priority 4.